next note is another opportunity full of choices, and I try to assess those choices and find the one that, for whatever reason, is the right one. I don't know what, like I had this one tune. Da 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 da. So there's that whole kind of process of just following it without any concern for anything else but what comes next. And yeah, I think it probably takes a lot to strip away all of life's layers to get to that moment where you can just stop and do that. Some people have more maybe of a regimen of discipline where they, what's his name? Norman Rockwell would sit down every morning and draw lampposts. I don't really have an every. I probably developed that. But it seems, looking back, that every time I actually come up with something, there are some common elements there. So that's would be the place to start.
So if you're not, as far as performing goes, if you're not doing everything, all 3 or 4 instruments on your own,
right?
Favorite combination of instruments?
Favorite? Well, I love backing vocalists. As you can see, that's what I do almost every night. Yeah. I love working with singers because they are presenting the song. Somebody once said to me that the only difference between singing and acting is the melody, right? In both cases, you're presenting a line, you're telling a story, and there are people that do that really well, and I love to be around them and part of the process of making that work. So that's probably my favorite. Secondarily, artists, instruments. I wouldn't say there's a specific instrument that I love more than others, although horns, breath, like I'm doing a thing with a trumpet player right now that he knocks me out, Mike Harriott. I did a record with the saxophone a couple years ago. I've done some work with Shem Gabori on violin. Oh, wow, you should hear what he does. I can't wait till we team up and make a duo. He's the violinist with the Metropolitan Opera Orchestra. We just did a show at Joe's Pub recently. He's great. So whatever, yeah, that would be a great venue for us. But whatever instrument it is, it's less about the instrument and more about the person, the character, the personality that's behind the voice of whatever instrument it is, and their musical awareness, ability to interact, the chemistry between us personally, all this. I love duos; those are really fun because there's a lot more freedom. But at the same time, I'll go down to the bitter end and sit in with the jam session on a Monday night and, stomp on the distortion box and rip up a solo with 9 guys on stage, or just chunk along on a blues or whatever. And that's ultimately very satisfying too. So I don't know, favorite. Not to sound fickle, but my favorite thing is pretty much whatever I'm doing right now in any given moment. I just love to play, man.
I think that's what it comes down to. You love to play.
Yeah, plain and simple. Especially with other people of like mind and ability, that can, not even necessarily ability. I played with some pretty rough and ragged, players that, can only strum out a blues or whatever, but they have so much heart and soul that you're just, yeah, let's do that, So I guess, yeah, it's about sincerity and yeah, you get the idea.
Your music has a lyrical quality. Who are some of the singers that you really love to perform with?
Perform with?
Who have the same sort of lyrical quality that your solo works do?
Well, again, Mike Harriott, his phrasing and ideas and tone and just overall thing, like we are just hand in glove. Singers, though, all of them. Of course, Marcus Simeone. God, that voice is a gift from God. And let's see. Believe it or not, speaking of gifts, Craig Taubman is a great singer. I think. Again, it's a character thing, And he gets all the people. That's almost more of a social thing than a musical thing. But musically, he's brilliant, without even trying to be. God, all the singers. There's so many of them, and they all have a way that, in the moment, that's what it's all about. And I guess growing up listening to music, it was everybody from Anita Baker to Brad Delp singing it over Boston, or because I listen to a lot of rock and roll. Oh, and Karen Carpenter, let's not forget. Oh God, there's so many. The list is too long, but I've never been good with favorite. Which one?
The Elvis Presley show.
Oh, with Therese Gineco?
Yeah.
That was fun. That was really fun because I'm doing that whole show on the baritone guitar, which is it's like having a piano in my lap. It's just that much more low end and everything. And she's a pistol, and she's really open-minded to kind of go in any direction too. So we're putting together all the arrangements because we had to go through Elvis's first record in its entirety. Pick out all those songs in order. We're like, how about we do this one real like kind of Sarah McLachlan, singer-songwriter-y, folky. Oh, okay. Here, let's do this one as a reggae, or let's do this one as a bossa nova, or let's do this one just down-home country blues. Everything we approach, we'd kind of put it through the paces stylistically and see what would come up. That really kind of made us both go, yeah, that's it. She's a kick to work with too, man. That's a really fun project. We're going to San Francisco next month to do that. Yeah, got a night at the Raz Room.
Talk about in any given performance, and I'm sure it varies, but how much of what you play is thought through ahead of time, is planned? How much of it is improvised?
That's a really good question. I think for my solo shows, I actually do a lot more consistent kind of planned stuff, at least within the context of each tune. I'll come out with a list of songs to choose from with no particular order of when I'm going to do which. I know what I want to open with, I know what I want to close with, and I got some highlighted that I want to hit in between, but it's an open format. But when I start playing the tune, it's almost like, because there's so much to think about, that I will approach it like, just like a song you'll hear on the radio. There's an intro, a verse, a re-intro, another verse, pre-chorus into a chorus, and then come back to whatever, and then there's a bridge. So there might be a blowing section, an improv section, where I'll actually take some chances and just improvise for a little while, but then I'll come back to the song. Where I think having a duo partner opens it up for a lot more, like the stuff I'm doing with Mike Harriott is almost entirely improvised. We'll have a melody and a lead sheet in front of us, and that's the end of that.
Little structure.
Very little structure, and it's a lot of improv and a lot of trust. And not only do we trust each other, we're counting on each other to push us into the different directions that'll make it interesting. In fact, we're developing an entire corporate seminar series based on that exact thing. More on that later. But yeah.
So you know what? You want to plug that right now?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm going to let Mike do that. It's his brainchild, and the only service I could do it at this point is just to stand next to him on stage and do all the right stuff at the right times. But
so in other words, you're not afraid of the unknown, which would be
not at all.
improvisation.
Not at all. In fact, Kitty, you were suggesting that I just do some letting it go. One thing, actually, here, maybe let's try this just right now. I need 5 numbers between 1 and 7. Pick one.
5.
5,
2,
2,
6,
6, 1.
8,
5, 2, 6, 1. 1 and 8 are the same. And 1 and 7, honey.
7.
5, 2, 6, 1, 7? Okay, so if we were to do that, say in the key of, G's nice on guitar. So 5 is D, 2 is A, 6 is E, 1, 7. 5, 2. Right? So. something, right? I was thinking of doing something like that at a show. We just ask people for, and I was just trying to do melodic elements. I could apply that to chords too.
Chords, harmony, even
Right. So,
rhythm,
what was it again? 5-2-6-1-7. So like 5, 2, 6, 1, 7. All right. So. Well, no, 5-2-6 1, 1 7. So right. Yeah, I don't know. There's something in there, but actually for chords I'd probably pick less. So just like 5-2-6 or something. I don't know. Anyway.
Good. Anything else you want to ask? We've recorded about 15 different video segments now, which is fantastic.
Okay.
And for me,
Oh, geez, and it's 10 of.
set up, so we'll have to clean up.
Okay.
But this is terrific because for me, I don't have to edit this stuff. I just choose, which block of the interview I want to turn into some video. Send it to you, and you can put up 50 new videos on your YouTube.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And people will find
I mean, is this stuff that
people
people...
will be tagged like Sean Harkness on guitar play, Sean Harkness on melody, on composition, on weird venues. So people who look for that stuff will...
Yeah, and it might even, whether we publish it or not, it's a place to start, and then I can, actually maybe give some thought to some of these things.
I don't know, I kind of like this format, don't you?
Yeah.
Without even
Honest,
thinking about it.
It's
Yeah.
better.
It's better. It's not planned or anything. It's just happening organically. It's more real.
Right? Okay. Cool.
Yeah, this is what people love. People love to see the human side.
You ask good questions.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Very good question.
Get kind of right inside of what it is I'm actually doing up here, yeah.
Thank you. But you want to know? I'm inspired to ask them because of the sophistication of playing. Most guitarists, I wouldn't know where to start.
So these are things you actually want to know.
For sure. I want to know all this stuff. But listen, you, John Mayer, Phil Cagey, Ed Segovia, John Williams, the guitar player, these people you can ask those questions to.
Right.
And everybody else, it's kind of like, well, man, I just kind of jam it out. It sounds right, and yeah.
Yeah, right. Giddy up.
But with you, you can actually talk about it, and to people, that's invaluable. That's just.
Okay. Cool.
You can't attach a price tag to it.
Well, good. So we got.